This is the third and final video in my three-part series on trades. Today's topic is going to be about how to decide whether or not to trade with someone when their portfolio has you on the fence. There are three tools I generally use to decide this. The first is to check references. Contact the models they've worked with prior, and pay special attention to how the models enjoyed the shoot. Don't just look into whether they got the images and the images were usable and good for their portfolios, but whether the shoot experience itself was fun. Typically, I try not to trade at all with anybody who's been described as grumpy or dour or shy or awkward. I'd prefer, if I'm going to spend my time trading, to have an enjoyable experience on top of getting usable images. You want your trade experiences to be fun and energetic and full of great creation. So if you're on the fence about working with somebody, it can be really good to get a feel for how they're going to be like to shoot with. The second tool I use is to look at the dates in their portfolio. I've said before that a general rule of thumb is that your portfolio is only as good as the worst image in it. However, many photographers will hang on to an image or two from years before that they just can't let go of. So if there are a couple images in their portfolio that you don't like as much and are worried about, check the dates. If they were uploaded 3-4 years ago, and the rest of their photos that you like are current, you have nothing to worry about. However, if you notice that the images you don't like are current, and the images you really like are older, it's probably a safe bet that that photographer's style has moved on to something that you don't want in your portfolio. The third tool I use is to judge whether or not I want their images on my wall. Typically, when you start out, you look at whether or not you want their images in your portfolio. But I've found that as my work has evolved and I've gotten a higher quality portfolio, that it's easier to judge whether it will be a good fit for my portfolio by whether any of the photographer's images strike me as something I would actually want to display in my house. That helps me separate whether it's just a good portfolio or an excellent portfolio, and whether the images that I get from my collaboration with that photographer will be good enough that it actually boosts my portfolio instead of just expanding it. Obviously, these are just guidelines. You can choose however you'd like, and I have had experiences where photographers whose portfolios I hated gave me images that were absolutely lovely and are still in my portfolio to this day. So don't just base your judgment on that portfolio. Go with your gut, go with the interaction with the photographer, and trust yourself. But if you're on the fence, these tools might be something that could help you make that decision. That's all I have to say on the topic of trades for now. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions you have and would love to see your comments. Thanks. See you next time.